Second to last talk in this section is by Jennifer Fee. Jennifer Fee is an education program coordinator at Cornell Lab of Ornithology. She does a lot of K through 12 education, and she is going to be speaking about BirdSleuth Caribbean, engaging youth and science in conservation through BirdSleuth Caribbean. It's all yours, Jen.
Thank you. Just one second while I share my screen. All right, hopefully everyone can see the screen now. I'm Jennifer Fee and I manage the K-12 program at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. And I've been there for about 17 years and fortunate to have met Lisa early on in that journey of my career, and have had the pleasure of working with her in Birds Caribbean on some training and curriculum development projects over the years. And we just want to share really briefly some of our efforts to engage youth in science and conservation through projects like eBird and connecting to local birds. So our original project, we started working in probably about 2011 and wrote a grant for U.S. Fish and Wildlife. And our goal was to connect kids to migratory birds through an innovative and fun hands-on curricula, and then to train educators on that curricula such that the trained educators could go back to their home countries and use it with summer camps and after school camps, as well as train local teachers. So to do this through both curriculum development and a train the trainer model. So our original workshop was in 2012. It was a workshop not only to train educators from 4 countries, but also to use their feedback and experience to inform further curriculum development, such that in 2014, we brought a much larger group of participants together, about 28 participants from many more countries and islands to be trained in the materials. An outcome of all of that training and original workshops was basically a kit. And the kit was designed to provide fun hands-on activities, and I'll share some examples of those activities in just a moment, but also to help kids connect to their local birds, learn to identify their local birds, and to participate in the eBird Citizen Science Project. And we included the fun hands-on activities in part to make it easy for beginning teachers, those that don't know that much about birds or haven't taught through the lens of birds before, to pick up the curriculum and go with it really quickly. And eventually we have translated the curriculum into 3 languages, English, Spanish, and French. And the curriculum is available for a free download at the bit.ly link you see on your screen. In addition to the hands-on lesson plans, there are also some supplies such as posters and bingo cards and so forth. And you'll see some of those activities and supplies in the pictures I'll show. For example, the curriculum starts with bird bingo, which is fun, hands-on activity. The cards that we produced are laminated such that you can use a dry erase marker or crayon to mark these up, so they're designed to be reusable. The other thing that I like about the bird bingo cards is you'll see they're not finding particular species of birds, so that makes them useful in a variety of contexts and on many islands. So whether you're looking for a feather or bird droppings or a colorful bird, it's up to your interpretation and your experience in finding those versus finding particular species. We try to connect kids to the things that migratory birds need through hands-on activities like the habitat scavenger hunt, the card there on the right. And you can see that these are really fun activities that teachers can just pick up and go with very quickly. In the training workshops that we held in 2014 and 2017, we really wanted to train the educators, many of whom are professional ornithologists or have education as part of their mission mandate from their organization, to practice those activities so that they could better utilize them with the children that they would later reach, or in the train the trainer model, such that they could go back and hold similar workshops for teachers. So here you see Scott thinking about using his ears and listening to the birds, drawing a sound map. And kids and adults alike are often surprised, if you just close your eyes and slow down for 5 or 10 minutes, how much sound you can hear in the environment. On the right, we have some educators from 3 different countries showcasing their bird journals. Everyone was asked to draw a favorite local bird on the front cover of their journal, so there's that bird ID aspect as well. Looking for birds to identify, there's a lot of practice in using binoculars, especially when we're thinking about training teachers and educators who may be new to bird watching. One of our most successful activities is a migration obstacle course. Instead of teaching the kids all of the bad things that can happen to birds, running into power lines or habitat destruction or outdoor cats, for example, we run them through a migration obstacle course. So you can see that even these adults, after a couple of days in the workshop, are really having fun running around these buildings. And it's been amazing to me when you get done with this, the teachers or the students can name off the migration obstacles and come up with solutions for some of those obstacles, and think about, you know, which ones are man-made and which ones are natural in the environment. So through these hands-on activities, we just hope to engender appreciation for birds, knowledge of local birds, and connection to birds, such that hopefully they'll want to conserve the birds that are in their local environment. So as I said, then after the educators are trained, they go back into their local environments, use the materials in places like summer camps. They host training workshops in their communities with other teachers. And most of the teachers you see here are new to birds and bird watching, and they're receiving this curriculum because they have an interest in perhaps environmental education or better science teaching. We've heard a lot of a lack of hands-on teaching materials, both in the US and abroad, and in places like the Caribbean and Latin America. So it's exciting to the teachers to receive materials that are really hands-on and interactive and teach the content in a fun way. Here we've got some kids playing Bird Survivor, another activity that really hones in not just on the challenges that migratory and resident birds face, but also some information about life cycles. So the kids take steps forward and backward depending on the challenging and positive or lucky things that happen to the birds throughout their life cycle. And through all of these activities, again, not just learning the content, but really connecting to their local birds, learning to identify their local birds by, you know, discovering who their local birds are, how to identify them with the use of posters and bird silhouettes and printed cards, the Merlin Bird ID app, all of those things together to help kids learn to identify birds, such that hopefully they can participate in the eBird Citizen Science Project as well as a culmination of these activities. And I'll turn it over to Lisa to share some of the outcomes of this.
Okay, thanks, Jen. So just to say a little bit more about results and outcomes, between us and all the educators that we've trained, there's been over 42 workshops completed in 22 different Caribbean countries or islands. Over 1,000 educators have been involved, 9,300 community members, and 37,300 youth have participated in some way in the program. So we've been really excited about how our partners have been able to come up with creative ways to use the curriculum, often in after-school clubs, summer camps, 4-H, Boy Scouts, Girl Guides. Lake Fouida Mare in St. Martin has a museum, and they have a permanent activity station with BirdSleuth activities. Lots of creative things that they're coming up with. We've been really impressed. Next slide. So a couple of examples of really positive outcomes would be youth in Grand Bahama at a school created a certified wildlife habitat for birds on their school grounds. They worked with our local partner there, Erica Gates and her team, and learned all about birds, how to identify them, and then planted native trees for birds, provided water for birds, bird feeders, things like that. And then in Grenada, in the small island of Carriacou, they actually engaged the whole community in getting involved in birding. They created a birding trail with a blind, homemade blind, and they actually succeeded in having the site declared as a bird sanctuary. And the community and the kids created all the signage, you know, with PVC pipes and paints and everything, and just super industrious and creative. Next slide. Here's some other examples of groups conducting cleanups, birding walks, planting native trees for birds, making and installing bird nest boxes and bird feeders, and then creating birding trails with blinds. Go ahead. And at the completion of the workshop, everybody gets a certificate of achievement that they've completed the training. And we've done lots of evaluation with people that have participated in our programs. And, you know, everybody's been really excited, like Jen was saying, to have materials that are created specifically for the Caribbean with lots of fun activities. Often educators complain about the activities being, you know, just the chalk and talk, just the teacher standing up there. So they're really excited to have fun games to play and things that get kids outdoors and exploring in a very fun way. So both the teachers and the kids love the curriculum. So we are excited to continue to share these materials. As Jen was saying, we have them available for free download. We also have some hard copies still available in both English, Spanish, and French. And we would love at some point to do another international training workshop. So if you're really excited about this program and want to do a training workshop, get in touch with us and let's raise the funds and train another new cohort of educators to get involved in the program, because the materials are really fantastic. Next slide. And one of the other unexpected outcomes was two of our workshop participants, one from the Bahamas, Scott Johnson, and one from Anguilla, Jan. They met at the workshop and fell in love and got married a couple of years ago, and they now have a little girl who's already at the age of 1, quite the naturalist. She is not afraid of anything. Scott posts pictures of her handling snakes, and before long she'll be birding as well. So that was a really, really fun outcome of our workshops.
I'd say that's my favorite outcome of any workshop, is that baby.
Yeah. Yeah, we're responsible for that little life. So thanks again to everybody for listening. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. We thank all of our funders, especially the Fish and Wildlife Service, Neotropical Migratory Bird Conservation Act Fund for supporting us, and the U.S. Forest Service, Vortex Optics, Optics for the Tropics, and then all of our teachers and NGO partners who have helped us make this program a success. We hope it will continue long into the future. As a resource that you can use for your bird festivals or any kind of activity that you want to do with kids and families. I think that's it. So we're happy to answer questions. All right, let's see if we have any questions, Jen. Any questions for us about this BirdSleuth program? And again, make note of the resources, the BirdSleuth curriculum. And if you go on to our YouTube channel, Birds Caribbean YouTube channel, you can find a really nice video that was made called Awakening with Birds. And Dr. Leo Douglas and I did a study in Jamaica using the BirdSleuth curriculum and giving the curriculum to 7 schools, and then 5 other schools acted as a control, and we were trying to measure what the impacts were of being exposed to bird science nature innovation. The kids in the experimental program got a 2-day bird education event where they had bird sleuth activities in the classroom, and then we went into the field, bird watched, made birding lists. The kids also got to participate in banding and hold birds and release them. And so Dr. Leo Douglas has done analyses on this and showed, following up with these kids 3 years later, that they still remember that training. They still have learned a lot. And so it does, we can show that the program does have a positive impact. So we're excited about that.
Can I ask a little question, Lisa and Jennifer?
Sure.
Could the bird sleuth, I'm just wondering how it would work, but could the bird sleuth program be extended to not only schools, but maybe kids in their communities, for example, youth clubs, or that kind of, a different kind of environment than schools? I know that, schools have a lot going on, and there might be other possibilities. I don't know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we have found that that's true, that the school curricula is so packed that teachers have a hard time even fitting the curriculum in.
Exactly, yeah.
So much that they have to cover. So we have encouraged them to use it in other ways, like after school science clubs or summer camps, church groups, 4-H clubs, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, things like that. So yeah, I would definitely say that we have pursued that and encouraged our educators to find other ways to use the programs, because it is difficult for the teachers to fit it in. I mean, there's a whole curriculum with 10 lessons which they can do, but you can also pick and choose and do activities in the book. This is what it looks like. And so again, we have it in 3 languages. You can do the activities together, or it's hard to make the camera see this, but anyway. So yes, it's a great suggestion, Emma, and we are encouraging our educators to do that. Okay, so Mark says, Mark Roberl has a question. He says, I assume your curriculum provides links to other materials of relevance to specific sites. We've just produced an update for a Puerto Rico Apple iOS app that expands coverage from Puerto Rico east to Montserrat and Antigua. It's an Android app, and an Android app is in production. Long title, All Birds, Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Virginia, Northern Lesser Antilles. Yeah, excellent, Mark. We would be happy to link to your resource and make that available. So we will follow up on that. I know we've written about your app before on our blog, but it sounds like it's time for an update. So let's do that.
There's another fun suggestion, Lisa, for possibility of a virtual training.
Ah, yeah, very good idea, Eliezer. Virtual and Cornell Lab for those teachers. Yeah, we could do that. We could organize that, especially as this lockdown continues. It might be a really welcome thing to do.
Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Eliezer.